It's day 4 of getting our very own sourdough starter up and going. We fed this 24 hours ago, and this is where the starter was at when we mixed it up. It rose all the way up to here, so we got really good rise, and it's falling back down. It hasn't fallen all the way back down to the same place where it started. If you haven't seen any rise in your starter at all yet, that's still totally okay. It's still in the early stages. It's not a big deal. Keep going. Stay consistent with it for at least a week before you stop and give up and get discouraged. But we're gonna keep going, and we're gonna keep feeding this one. And basically for the next couple of days, it's just gonna be the same thing over and over again, establishing a pattern and establishing a feeding routine with our starter. If your starter has been rising, over the next couple of days, you might notice that it stops rising altogether. That's totally fine. That's called a false start. That's normal. In the beginning stages of my starter, I like to switch jars every time just to make sure I'm keeping a clean environment. I'm gonna take 50 grams out of this jar here and put it into a new jar. The starter definitely has more of an unpleasant smell today than it did yesterday. That's normal. If it's smelling kind of like gym socks, acetone, like this it smells just gross. Right now, I honestly don't even know what that smell is, and I'm too pregnant to put my nose in there again and figure out exactly what it smells like for you. That's normal. That's that bad bacteria that's still present in here that's dying off. It's gonna take a little bit of time for that to completely disappear, and for that pleasant, kind of yeasty, fruity smell will take over. I kind of think a healthy starter smells like overripe bananas. Some people might say that that's absolutely insane and it smells nothing like that. To me, that's kind of the smell I'm looking for. This is our discard going in the trash. We're not gonna start saving this yet. Next comes 50 grams of filtered room temperature water. And finally for flour, we're gonna do a blend of 50% all-purpose flour, 50% whole wheat. So since I'm doing 50 grams total, it's gonna be 25 all-purpose, 25 whole wheat. If you wanna be feeding at like 20 or 30 grams worth of starter and flour and water and have less discard going, you can do that. I like to work at 50 just because it's a round, easy number to add and subtract from. And it's just always the number I've kind of gone with when I'm getting my starter going. So now my starter is mixed up and there's no dry flour left anywhere. I'm gonna give my jar a little mark so that we can see how it's rising. And now she sits on the counter and waits for another 24 hours.